Hey guys, and welcome back into yet another Chicago Cubs review. I want to first start off by saying I'm sorry about the last few days. I didn't have any reviews for the Angels series. Honestly, it was just a situation where I wanted to give people a chance to catch up. And obviously, reviewing every Chicago Cubs game and the fact that they play every day, you're cranking out a ton of videos day after day after day. So I thought that giving everyone a few days off, including myself, was a good idea. But now you got the big series against the division rival Cardinals. The second place Cardinals, albeit they were 12 back coming into today. But I thought this was a good time to pick it back up. Hopefully people had a chance to get caught up these past few days. And, the last few days, the Cubs didn't miss a beat. The two games against the Angels I didn't review. They won both. They swept the Angels in the two-game series. Went 4-0 against them this year. Now the Cardinals coming off... last time they played was in June in Wrigley. Cardinals swept them 3 straight. The Cubs, despite the 12-game lead, I'm sure, remember that. They don't want to allow the Cardinals to defeat them yet again because you may be meeting this team in postseason play. And the last thing you want to do, especially when you have such a successful season, you're way better than every other team in the league. But you get into the playoffs, and the first team you play is a team that's won 6 of the last 7 times you guys have played. That's going to leave a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth, and it's going to give that opposite team, despite the fact they'll be on the road, confidence going in your house that they can beat you because they have before. We'll get right into this game. John Lester started for the Cubs today. He had a pretty good day. He had a few spurts throughout the game where he made some mistakes, particularly the first inning. Got the first 2 guys out, then gave up 3 consecutive hits to allow a run. All in all, he went 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. ZRA's 2.93, so it stayed right about the same. I think that's what it was coming into the day. But Lester was good. Like I said, the first inning, giving up the 3 straight hits. Gives up a solo homer to Moss on a cutter he left up and over the middle of the plate. Wasn't a good pitch. Moss made him pay. But especially considering the fact the wind was howling out, a pretty good outing for him. He's always going to, or at least this year, he's always been able, other than that start against the Mets, he's always been able to give you a chance to win the game, and he did that again here. And, of course, being in Wrigley Field with the wind blowing out, you got to always take that into consideration. I thought he pitched really well. Travis Wood went 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 1 run. No walks, 1 strikeout. Gave up a home run to Grichuk to allow them to tie the game at 3. Wood's last few outings hasn't been as good, but he's been good throughout the year. He's been relied on a lot, a heavy workload, and you hope that that's not catching up with him. But last few times out, he hasn't been great. Joe Smith came in for 1/3 of an inning, gave up a hit and a walk. He has not looked good with the Cubs. A lot of hard contact, but he's a veteran. I think Madden's going to continue to give him chances. Oh, that's another thing I didn't mention, obviously, since I haven't been reviewing the last few days. Pedro Strop is now out 4 to 6 weeks with a torn meniscus. Luckily, that timetable puts him in place to return before the postseason, which is big. We saw that today with Travis Wood pitching so much, having such a heavy workload, and Joe Smith really struggling, and them really wanting to back off Carl Edwards Jr. and not use the rookie too much. Having Pedro back is going to be key to come postseason time. And Hector Rondon's dealing with a triceps issue, so he isn't available right now. So the bullpen's being tested as far as their depth, and Joe Smith needs to be better. Justin Grimm came in. He was the one that got called up with Strop going to the DL. 1 inning. He looked good. 1 strikeout. Chapman came in, had a 3-pitch inning. That was pretty funny. He walked off the field with a huge smile. That's great. He goes in. You understood what the Cardinals are doing, too. They're just, you're getting a first-pitch fastball. Try to attack it. Don't get down in the count. And that's what they did. They hit a few of them really hard. But 3 pitches, it's great. You get them out there, pitch an inning. And really, you didn't have to expend any energy. 3 pitches. Then Mike Montgomery comes in, 2 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. A lot of stuff going on when he came into the game, but obviously it was in extra innings. Hadn't pitched, I think, since the end of July, so it'd been a few weeks, and he had not, the performances he had with the Cubs in the past had not went well. But today, I'm not saying I trust this guy because he got away with a lot of stuff, including striking out Carpenter with the bases loaded, who's one of the toughest guys in the league to strike out, but he put a lot of guys on base, a lot of pitches bouncing, going all over the place. But he got out of it. He battled, and it was a big moment for the team and for him, I think, as an individual moving forward. He needs to hopefully build on that and continue to get better. But he's got a good curveball. That curveball's a big sweeper. I think that's a tough pitch for those lefties to handle. We saw it with Carpenter. He had a tough time with that pitch. And has a decent fastball, good cutter. I think he's got the potential to be good, but at this point, I think this probably ended up being the best moment he has all season out of that bullpen. I don't envision him through September and October being a key part of the bullpen, but tonight being short a couple guys, not wanting to use Edwards, he really became, and the game going so long, he had to step up, and he did. And that's been the story of the season so far. A lot of guys stepping up. But offensively, Dexter Fowler didn't have a great game, 0-for-5 with 3 strikeouts. Bryant had a couple hits, but 3 more strikeouts, including in a key situation with bases loaded, 1 out. Couldn't get a run in. He's got to get better in those situations. Lately, he's had too many of those where he's coming up, or he's came up in big situations where all he had to do was put the ball in play, and he strikes out. He's got to get better in that. Rizzo had a couple hits, including a triple. Coughlin had a huge moment. What was it? He had 2 runners on, or the bases loaded, or whatever it was, and Martinez is pitching. Full count. Martinez goes to throw. Coughlin tries to step out, call time. The ump doesn't grant him timeout. He steps in, just batting practice action. Boom, smacks in the right field for a 2-run single to tie the game up at 2. Then David Ross puts him ahead with the bunt single. I mean, that's Joe Madden in a nutshell right there, doing these crazy, uncharacteristic things that somehow work out because he's Joe Madden. I mean, if any other manager does that, you're thinking, and it doesn't work out because they're not Joe Madden, you're thinking, what the hell is this guy thinking? With Joe Madden, these things always work out. Putting bullpen guys out in the outfield, playing, 4 or 5 guys in all these different spots, pinching starters in the 4th inning. I mean, he does crazy stuff, and it typically works out for him. And being the manager he is, and having the success he's had for such a long period of time, he's bought himself the wiggle room to try these things without question. And even if they don't work out, he's Joe Madden. It's hard to really, say too much bad about him. But all in all, this game went 11 innings, so a long game. They had 11 hits, no errors. The Cubs are the best defensive team in baseball. The statistics show that. You have 11 inning game, no errors. It's just, the Cardinals did too, but the Cubs consistent out this year have been very good defensively. And it's just, it's been, Javier Baez, guy comes in as a defensive replacement, ends up getting a bunch of at-bats because the game goes so long. But he comes in and instantly gets 2 liners to third. He makes great plays on both of them. That was when Chapman was in the 9th inning, and, the crowd starts chanting, Javi, Javi. Baez is becoming a fan favorite. He's becoming a favorite of mine. I really wish he'd, just chase a few less pitches. I think it would really enhance his offensive game, but that's something hopefully he'll learn throughout the offseason, and as time goes on, starting to recognize breaking balls away and down, and I think that if he's able to do that, he really could take his game to a new level, because he's got everything you would need defensively. The fact that he can play all these positions, he's so good at every one. I don't know if there's one that he's better at than the other. He's great at short, he's great at second, he's great at third. Even what we've seen at first, he's been good. He'd probably be good in the outfield if we saw him, but he's just a stud. He can steal bags, he's fast. Just really like him. I just want to see him take that next step as far as making pitchers throw him strikes, because he still chases a bit too much for me. But Soler came in at a pinch hit, single, little dribbler down the third base line, hustled out of the box. I would love to see him in the lineup today. I haven't seen the lineup yet. Hopefully Hayward's out, because this guy's, he's great defensively, and I think, come October, you got to make a decision on him. Is he in the lineup every single day? He's really a lineup killer right now. He's a stopper. Every time he comes up, ground ball to second, double play, pop up to the infield. He's just not getting, the average is down to 226. It's just not good enough. He's great on defense, so I think in the postseason, if he's not starting regularly because of his lack of offense, he still gets in most games because of his defensive production. So a decision's got to be made on him pretty soon. I envision him being in the lineup in the playoffs because he has been all year. But as things get more intense come late September and you start really feeling like October's right around the corner, if he's still hitting under 230, I don't know how you have him in there every game. Soler's looked great since he's came back. He's a better offensive player. And Madden said, at the beginning of the game, you go offense. Late in the game, you go defense. So Soler starts. You get him 3 at-bats or 4 at-bats, whatever. You have a lead 8th, 9th inning. You bring Hayward in. I think that's what should be done. Now, if it's a really difficult righty that, Soler has a bad track record against, then I think you maybe consider starting Hayward. But even then, you could have Contreras out there in the outfield. There's a lot of different things you can do, but Hayward, something's got to be done with him. You can't continue to have a guy hitting 225 batting 6th in your lineup. It just can't be that way, or it's going to cost you come October. So either way, the Cubs win their 10th in a row, the first time since 2001. This team's absolutely on fire. It's all because of my videos, guys. Ever since I've started them, they win every day. And they're now 31 games over 500. I mean, that's an insane record. A 13-game lead in the division. And also, I forgot to mention, Matt Holliday was hit late in the game by Mont Montgomery. He has a fractured thumb. Who knows, that could keep him out for the rest of the season. Definitely for a while. This is a team that's already got a ton of injuries. Mike Matheny, he's done it in the past. The whole Madden-Matheny incident last year where the Cardinals were throwing at Cub hitters, and they believe in retaliating if you hit one of their guys. So we got 3 games left in this series. Don't be surprised if we see some fireworks. Ball getting thrown at Bryant, ball getting thrown at Rizzo. And if it happens, we could see some fireworks because we already know the Cubs and Madden don't enjoy that. Obviously, the Montgomery thing was not intentional, and if they choose to intentionally hit one of our key guys, particularly in a spot other than maybe the ribs or the leg or something, if you throw up high or anywhere high, basically, there's going to be a problem because we're all going to know it's intentional. But we'll see what happens. Either way, F the Cardinals. We hate the Cardinals. Let's go Cubs, and I'll be back today for your review, guys. Thanks, guys. I'm out.